Listen now, we the talk around town. Alex threw the ball to Smokey for a touchdown. It's fourth down and you don't really want no more. We've been winning from the door. You should check the scoreboard. Check the scoreboard.
Welcome back to another episode of the Scoreboard. It is week 3 in the NFL. We got a lot of good games, a lot of really strong matchups to discuss this week. But first and foremost, Smokey, how are you doing and how did we do last week?
Oh man, I'm actually doing really well if you disregard the whole Falcons thing, which looked like the Super Bowl all over again. But other than that, I'm better than Giants fans at least. Whew, Saquon.
Better than a lot of fans. I don't recall a weekend with so many injuries to so many important players.
Oh man, half the starting lineup in the entire NFL is out.
That's crazy.
Dude, that was crazy. On Sunday, I just kept getting notification after notification. It was unbelievable. I'd never seen a weekend like that, or a Sunday
it's
like
incredible the amount of names, big names, talent that's out. Fantasy-wise, too, I think you'll have a lot to discuss on the hurry-up offense in the coming weeks.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just it, man. In most leagues that I've seen, you either had a great day and scored a ton of points and killed your opponent, or you scored nothing. Like, it was literally the biggest variation I've ever seen. Like, some PPR leagues, I saw people scoring 200 points against 74 points, and that is just ridiculous, man. I've never seen anything
That's insane.
like that.
I had close matchups this week, but speaking of, quickly, the hurry-up offense, of course, is your weekly 5-minute fantasy segment, which is on this channel every week, and is going to come up probably tomorrow, so any fantasy fans should definitely subscribe to the channel to be able to check that out, because this man knows what he's talking about, at least when it comes to fantasy. In terms of regular football, still to be determined, but how are records looking overall for the season?
All right, well, since you had to make that snarky little comment, I would like to inform you that I happened to beat you last week, 13-10.
Wow, 13?
13.
Damn, that's a lot of points.
I am happy to inform you.
So you're up 2 in the overall ranking, huh?
Yes. Yep. I'm sorry. That is the overall. Yeah. Hold on. What is? Yeah. No, the overall ranking is 20-18 now.
I mean, we did better than week 1 at least.
Forgot about week
13
1.
is a lot. You almost doubled your points from week 1 to 2.
Yeah, almost, man. One more point and I would have had it.
That's incredible. I'm gonna have to catch up.
I mean, obviously the games were much more predictable this week, as you know. You did much better yourself, also.
I'm looking forward to this week, though. I'm looking at a lot of matchups here that I don't know how to predict. It's going to be a tough one.
Mm-hmm. I think the only game you got me on that we weren't agreeing on was the Cowboys and the Falcons, which definitely the Falcons should have won that.
Yeah, they should have won that. I picked Atlanta, didn't I?
No, you picked the Cowboys there.
Oh, I picked the Cowboys. Oh, I didn't even recall that. Mm-hmm. Must have been a tough decision. I thought that the Falcons should have won that for sure. That was, I think I saw an interesting stat that a team that scored more than 30, like out of all teams in NFL history that scored more than 38 points and have 0 turnovers in a game, those teams are like 440-1. And the Falcons were the first team to ever lose from a situation like this, which just tells you the whole story.
Since 1935, I think it was. Man,
incredible.
That's the most ridiculous stat ever.
Absolutely incredible. In terms of betting, we had kind of a down week. Lost $5 in total because certain 41-year-old quarterback in Louisiana decided to have a spaghetti for an arm all of a sudden. And, I, of course, picked the Saints to cover the spread big time. Didn't even win the game, so that lost me a little bit. But for more betting advice for the upcoming week, and this time for real, and we're going to make profit coming up after our predictions, I suppose. But how about we get into this? I have an interesting one here, right? Thursday night. I'm looking forward to this a lot. Battle of Florida. We got Dolphins at Jaguars.
Oh man, this was actually a close one to me because, of course, one of these teams is 2-0 and the other team is 0-2. And at the beginning of the season, you probably would have picked the Dolphins to be 2-0, but it's the exact opposite. The Jags are definitely not tanking. It is Minshew magic time. And although Fitzpatrick tried to throw a little something on the game last week, it didn't quite work out for him. Man, this is tough. And, under any circumstances like this, I would say this is almost a tie because, well, actually, I'm not even going to say that because the Jags have actually beat decent opponents. We saw the Colts. They're actually a decent team, and the Jags straight up beat them. The Dolphins are still losing, so I'm going to pick the Jags, especially with them being at home, to roll over the Dolphins again.
It feels weird to say this, but it's honestly seems like Gardner Minshew is playing out of his mind. He's one of the best performing quarterbacks this year so far on a team that we had written off. We had the Jaguars in the race for tanking for Trevor. That's not going to happen, said Gardner Minshew. It's my job, and it's my job to keep. And I believe that after this season, they'll have a new outlook on things, and they know that they have the guy in the building to build the team around. They'll have a lot of rebuilding to do, obviously, but the centerpiece is there. And Gardner Minshew could have dare I say, Aaron Rodgers type season where he somehow gets this team to 8-8 by himself with nothing around him. And he might as well have won last week too. This team might as well be 2-0 because they were in both games and those were tough opponents. I have them winning 2. By the way, I think this is going to be a shootout, in my opinion, on Thursday night. I think both those quarterbacks, it's one of those games where Ryan Fitzpatrick just throws for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, but Gardner Minshew is going to go for like 350 and 4 touchdowns. And I think the Jaguars come out on top slightly, but it's going to be an interesting game. I'm looking forward to this a lot. It's going to be a good one.
I need to point out before we move on, I made a mistake. Actually, when I wrote up their record, I wrote them up as 2-0. Yeah, they did lose that one in the end. They should have won that game, though.
Yeah, they should exactly. They might as well have won it. It's a close one. How about Houston at Pittsburgh and Deshaun Watson currently winless? What do you think about this one?
Oh man, it hurts my heart to see Deshaun Watson losing. Man, this is crazy. Come on, Deshaun. I can't blame Deshaun. I'm blaming Bill O'Brien. He is on that list, and I made this list this week. It's Dan Quinn, Bill O'Brien, who else? Matt Patricia, and the topper. The topper is Adam Gase. Yes, Adam Gase is at the top of that pyramid. And I was thinking maybe throwing in Flores down there in Florida, Matt Nagy, but Matt Nagy's winning, so
he's winning.
I guess I can't throw him in that boat right now, but I blame it all on Bill O'Brien. Having that said, Steelers are still winning, although that was a tough game. I'm going to put it on Big Ben to win this one at home because we know how Big Ben's home road splits are. He tends to win a ton at home, and when he does lose, it's on the road. So Texans looking like garbage. They lost Will Fuller. I'm going to stick with the Steelers on this one.
Man, I'm going to tell you one thing. This game is going to be closer than a lot of people might think. And it's going to be closer than the records might say. This might be a field goal game when it comes down to it. I think those teams are closer than we might think. But I am with you on that. The Steelers are winning. It's going to be tough sledding for Houston once they're 0-3 in a division where all of a sudden a lot of teams look promising. They might be slipping down the ranks quite a bit there. And Bill O'Brien is one of the guys in the hot seat. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. I have the Steelers going to 3-0, and they're going to contend for that division too with the Ravens, and that AFC North is stealthily becoming a very strong division. Speaking of the AFC North, Bengals up at Philadelphia. What do you think?
Wow, this is another game where if you would have asked me at the first of the season, I would say the Bengals have no chance, but Joe Burrow seems to be for real. Much like another rookie quarterback that we're going to talk about in a little bit, but tell you what doesn't seem for real, and it wasn't a one-game fluke, but this Eagles O-line is horrible. I do not see them getting any better. Man, I feel bad for Carson Wentz because I know he is a better quarterback than how this team is performing. I mean, he deserves a better team around him than this. This offense is horrible, and it's probably the worst I've ever seen the Eagles play since Carson Wentz has been quarterback. Bengals, I predict them to actually get their first win here. I think Joe Burrow is making this offense better all around. I think A.J. Green is going to keep improving. He's been off a year and a half, so he does look a little slow right now, but he is getting better. Tyler Boyd's a good receiver. Joe Mixon's probably going to step it up on these Eagles and get some good runs here. Eagles are probably going to put up 10 points or 14 or whatever they usually do, but I'm taking the Bengals to win this one on the road.
Come on. I was going to make the surprise pick here. Actually, I was thinking hard about this one in the beginning, and I decided to pick Cincinnati because I thought you weren't gonna. And now I'm sitting here with that dilemma. Sometimes I don't like the fact that you go first all the time. No. Yeah, I'm sticking with it, though. I'm picking Cincinnati. I think this is the game. The game that Joe Burrow finally wins his first one because they've been playing very, very well. Especially Burrow's been playing very well. Defense got to get it together still for Cincinnati. And the play calling, very spotty. I remember that one particular situation, I believe it was before half, in the game against Cleveland, where they had like 7 consecutive snaps from the 1 yard line. And they somehow managed to get sacked 3 times and throw the ball like the 3 more times, and never did it cross their mind to just run it in. So very spotty red zone play calling on that one. That didn't sit well with me at all. But all in all, Joe Burrow's playing well, and I think he's going to win it. Listen, I don't want to jinx it, but I don't know, with the amount of injuries that are going on already. And you mentioned that Eagles O-line. I don't see Carson Wentz surviving 16 games this year. I know he's somewhat prone to injury. There, honestly, the amount of times he's gotten hit so far in 2 weeks, they're lucky he's not out already. And this is not going to carry on for 14 more weeks with him just staying healthy. They're tempting their fate, because the entire season for the Eagles is in the hands of Carson Wentz. So that's abundantly clear. So they got to get it together and fast. I don't see it happening. I think Bengals. Joe Burrow gets the monkey off his back and wins his first game. And I'm looking forward to seeing it, though. How about the 49ers at the Giants?
Oh, man. The Niners got out with a win, but not without paying a cost, man. Whew. You guys lost some people. You lost some big key players. I mean, Raheem Mostert, Nick Bosa. And I'm guessing from the news I'm seeing that your quarterback's going to play. So Jimmy G should be okay. Or at least if he's out, it's not more than a week or so. The Giants are just on a downward spiral right now, much like the Eagles. The only problem is they were never... Well, it's been a long time since they've been at the top to fall from grace. So I do like some of the things that Danny Dimes is doing up there, but it's just not enough. And these guys don't have enough quality elite receivers, and Saquon is gone. I just can't see the Giants pulling this out, even though they're at home. I mean, it's got to be the 49ers on this one.
All right, I have a very unpopular opinion on this game. Not on the outcome, but on how to proceed with this game. And I want to preface this by saying the turf, the artificial turf in that stadium, it's got to go. It has to go. That's not acceptable for NFL conditions. Niners have to play there 2 weeks in a row, but the Jets and Giants have to play there 8 games every year. And the problem with the turf is, it's all coming together. It's faster. It's springy. It's faster than regular grass, so collisions happen at a faster speed. There's more force behind stuff. And it's like glue, but it's also like concrete in that once you get stuck, you get stuck. Your foot gets stuck, it doesn't give. Yes. Like regular lawn would. And once you fall down, it's like concrete. So not, in my opinion, not a surface that NFL games should be played on. It's scientific studies have shown that there's higher rates of injury on football games on the artificial turf, and I think that needs to be reworked after the season. Here's my very unpopular take. If in any doubt whatsoever, let Jimmy sit. Don't play him. Don't play Jimmy Garoppolo. It's too important. We can't afford to lose Jimmy Garoppolo for the season, because if he aggravates that ankle again, let's say he's like at 80%, and he gets hit again and aggravates the ankle again, or steps on it funny, and he'll miss 4, 5, 6 games when the important games of the season come up, that's going to be a big hit. So everything is replaceable to a degree, but not the quarterback. We've seen what happens when he's out 2 years ago. That was a lost season. That season was in the garbage, week 3. Can't afford to do it. Nick Mullins can play. We know Nick Mullins can play. We've seen him play the year that Jimmy was out. He was okay. He was fine. A serviceable starting quarterback. The Giants are terrible. They lost their best player. They're not going to have an offense. They barely have a defense. Not trying to sound overconfident, but the Jets just lost to an entire practice squad for San Francisco. Similar things should happen to the Giants. They should be able to beat the Giants without having to rely on Jimmy Garoppolo. Just running game and defense. George Kittle probably coming back. Rest Jimmy and bring him back the week after when he's fully healthy and when he can play on proper turf. The team is too good to waste a season. That's simply what I have to say. I'm picking the 49ers to win, no matter who starts at quarterback. Giants with Barkley out, that's... I kind of want to call the season early, too. I don't think a lot of productive things are going to come. Going to see some good moments from Daniel Jones still this year, but they're not going to win this game. They don't have the individual class to beat the Niners team. Pretty much no matter who's injured. Mm-hmm. How about the Raiders at the Patriots? Let me hear it.
Oh, man. Before we get on, I just want to say it's bad times in New York, man. I feel sorry for the whole state.
Yes.
Yeah.
Raiders,
man. Raiders are the Raiders still frauds?
I'll answer that when it's my turn.
Oh, man. No one expected that. No one expected it was a comeback, you know. It wasn't like in Cowboys style comeback or anything, but they pretty handily won that game. I mean, the first quarter they were down 10-0, and by the end of the game they were up by 10. So the Raiders, man, I don't know how you feel right now, but they may be legit, man. I know you're gonna say they're still frauds, but they might be legit, and I'm not saying they are.
Pick them.
I'm not saying they are.
Pick them.
Hey, man, this is the Patriots. The Patriots are actually looking really good with Cam Newton, man. And this is in New England. I can't go out on a limb that far yet and say that Derek Carr is going to take the Raiders into New England and beat the Patriots, because that offense looks like it's firing on all cylinders. And, dude, did you see that Edelman had a career-high game, yardage game.
Against Jamal Adams, by the way.
Exactly, yes. It's only his second game with Cam Newton. Think of Edelman might have actually been like a superstar with someone who actually chucks the ball a little more than Tom Brady, you know? Who knows what his capability would have been, would it? But anyway, the Patriots look sharp. The Raiders look surprisingly sharp, but got to go with the Patriots at home. I can't see them winning this game.
And Edelman, by the way, is a Hall of Famer as is already. But yeah, he's looking good. That Patriots offense, as expected, at least expected by me, very potent. Whether you like to see it or not. All right. What is something that the Belichick Patriots have been notorious for like 2 decades? Exposing frauds. Am I right? Here's the perfect opportunity. That too, but they expose frauds. They expose teams that aren't for real, teams that aren't really about it. Just so happens that the Las Vegas Raiders are rolling into town this weekend, 2-0, coming off of a gifted win against New Orleans that they should have never won, beating the Panthers before that. They're terrible. The Raiders, I texted you this today. I told you the Raiders are frauds until the day where they win their first playoff game. I want to see one playoff win. I will tell you, I will come on this show and I'll say the 2020 Raiders were not frauds. Right now, they're frauds. New England has a 20-year history of exposing frauds. Cam Newton is running this offense incredibly well. The Patriots are for real. They're going for a deep playoff push. The Raiders are not. And we're going to see this weekend, and that's how you're going to find out. Raiders are frauds because New England will expose them. I'll take the Patriots. Thank you very much. How about Titans and Vikings?
Titans and Vikings. Titans, even though they should not have won that game, they did, and they are 2-0. The Vikings are 0-2. And I predict that by the end of this game, we're going to see Ryan Tannehill and the Titans, and Derrick Henry probably is going to run like crazy on these Vikings. They're going to come out and be 3-0. And the Vikings, I don't know. Like, I tried to warn you before the season started that they're not as good as everyone is saying they are. But they still have time to turn it around. I just don't see it happening. they have one good bright spot. I mean, I know people love Adam Thielen, but I told you he's going to regress this season. Dalvin Cook is the high spot of that offense. That defense is falling apart. It's not what it used to be. I'm going to pick the Titans to go on the road and take this one from them.
And what happened to Minnesota, right? Adam Thielen's throwing a lot of double coverages now. Stephon Diggs is gone. Anthony Barr out for the year.
Exactly what I said would happen.
It's tough sledding at the moment. So we have agreed on every pick so far. But I am afraid we're not going to differ here. I'll take Tennessee too. And actually get back to that specific matchup later when we go to the betting segment, because I have something to say about that. But yeah, I can see Titans losing. Ryan Tannehill's on fire, top 5 quarterback. A lot of stat-wise at the moment. Derrick Henry is still running over people. Titans seem legit. I didn't really believe them to be as legit as they looked in the playoffs, but they seem to be legit, and they still seem to try to push forward. And yeah, Vikings, tough, but one more year of not being better than Aaron Rodgers, and I guess I should have seen it coming. I should have been the one to see it coming. I picked them to win the division because I didn't expect Aaron Rodgers to really play as passionately as he is playing. And yeah, I will definitely own that. It's early still, but Vikings to me are going to 0-3, so I'm still agreeing with you. See if you got a different pick on this one. This one we might disagree on. We have the Washington you-know-whats versus the Cleveland Browns.
The Browns versus the football team. Yeah, I'm kind of hoping we disagree on this one, but I will tell you that the football team, everybody was rallying behind them after that Week 1 win. And then they got exposed as frauds. They are frauds. They're not good. The Cardinals, you might not want to admit that, but they're legit. Like, they're not frauds.
They're good. Listen, they're good. Yeah, they're not frauds.
They walked right over the football team handily. Kyler Murray, he might be good, man. He might be good. I'm just saying. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying you might be wrong. The Browns, man, that was a great game last Thursday, and the Browns won that game, and they should have. They were about to blow it at some point, but they didn't. They were ahead the entire game, and sometimes against weak defenses, Baker Mayfield looks okay. I still don't peg him for a breakout season or anything, and the Browns are still not a great team. But the football team is even worse. I think these two running backs may have a hard time with old Chase over there, but I still think they're going to run right over this D-line, run right over the secondary. They're going to score a ton, and they probably won't even need Baker to throw much at all. So sit down, Odell. Browns are going to win this one at home.
Man. What happens when two frauds meet up in one game? Well, who wins? I've been trying to figure this out, because both these teams are absolutely frauds. Like you mentioned, you're completely right on that. Not as big of a fraud as the Raiders are, or will turn out to be, because no one's rating them as highly as they are the Raiders. But yeah, we have two frauds. Unfortunately, I'm having a tough time once again disagreeing with you. I can't do it. I've seen that running game by Cleveland look legit. It looked legit. We know that the chemistry in the passing game hasn't been there for 2 years. It's still not there as it should be, but they can run the football. And Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, that's a mighty duo. I have a tough time believing that the Washington defense will be able to stop that routinely. Their strength is in rushing the passer, and the offense has looked okay, but I think they'll get dominated in this game. They'll have the ball ran on them. The Browns will control the possession time, and they're gonna run over. I think Cleveland wins this game. It's gonna be close, but I have to say they win, because all they really need is Baker to be serviceable, 200 yards, a touchdown, and run the ball 40 times. And they're going to win, in my opinion. So still, we agree on every single one. I thought this week would be a little bit difficult. I guess some of the tougher matchups come later down the line. But next we have the Rams at Bills. This could be a tough one.
Yeah, I kind of think so. I mean, the Rams had a good outing on the road against the Eagles. But then again, that is a horrible Eagles team right now. I hate to see it. 37-19. Who would have thought that the Rams were going to come out and win 37-19 over the Eagles before this season started? That's horrible. The Bills. your 2020 MVP nominated by me, Josh Allen. He will be the winner, by the way.
He might. He just might.
If the season ended right now, it's between him and Russell Wilson. But
that's Aaron Rodgers too. But yeah, he's up there.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I'm still behind that. Stage 2 is complete, so 14 more to go. And I think the Bills being at home should have no problems with the Rams. Maybe it'll be cold. The Rams are used to really warm weather. I don't see this being a problem. I don't think Carson Wentz is the Super Bowl quarterback that everyone thought he was. I want to say something. That Super Bowl team.
You mean Jared Goff, by the way?
Oh yeah. What did I say?
Yeah, you said Carson Wentz.
Oh, Carson Wentz was the second pick.
That's who they wish they picked.
Yes, Jared Goff. That's who they should have picked, was Carson Wentz. Jared Goff is not the quarterback that was in that Super Bowl. I mean, the only reason he was the quarterback in that Super Bowl is because all the pieces that Sean McVay had put around him at the time, and they could not afford to keep that up. I mean, they had a lot of very expensive players on that team that are mostly not there now, and we saw that last season. The Rams got exposed very many times. So even though they got a pretty handily win, I still think they're on a downward spiral. I think the Bills are going up. They're in two different directions. I'm taking the Bills to win this one at home.
You sound very confident about this one. I'm not as confident as you are, or at least I don't think it'll be quite as clear as you make it sound like it will be. I once again won't disagree with you. I take Buffalo to win. It's going to be a close one. I think the Rams so far have been looking really good. The defense has been stellar. They can stop the run game. Aaron Donald's a monster. And it's going to be by the way, that Josh Allen versus Aaron Donald, that's going to be a matchup to watch. That's going to be some serious competition there. I would agree with the fact that if the season ended today, my vote would probably be Josh Allen. But there's still some people knocking on that MVP door. So he has to show a lot more. It's a pretty good start, though, to defeat Aaron Donald and that Rams defense. And the play calling currently is on fire, too. They're better than I thought. I think Cam Akers got hurt. I'm not exactly up to date on how that situation is looking right now. So how is the run game going to be affected for the Rams? I'll take Buffalo to win. They seem to be one of the healthier teams. Once again, last year, they were one of the only teams that just straight up didn't have people on IR for several weeks during the season. So they're doing something right in Buffalo, and that's the key. To a successful season. So I'll take Buffalo to win, but it's going to be a close one. Field goal, maybe by a touchdown, but it's probably not going to be a blowout.
I don't think it's going to be a blowout or anything, but I do think the Bills win, probably easily. But I will say Dawson Knox is out for the Bills. I don't remember exactly how many games, but he does have an injury.
Yeah. Okay, that's one. How about your Falcons? Getting visited today, or not today, but this weekend, by the Chicago Bears and Matt Nagy and Mitch Trubisky.
Two teams that these coaches will not be there next season.
The Bears are 2-0. The Bears were winning. What do you mean they're not going to be there?
They can't keep this up, right? Like, do you think the Bears are legit?
I don't think they're legit, but they're like in the purgatory sort of a situation where too good to fire the coach, but too bad to go to the play or make a playoff push.
Yeah,
8-18, 9-7.
Yeah, that's true. I said that earlier. So, yeah, it's kind of. I mean, Dan Quinn's in a worse situation than Matt Nagy is right now at the moment. But at the end of last season, the entire city of Chicago wanted Matt Nagy out of there. But they decided to keep him, and we'll see what happens. Right now, I mean, he could have. Remember Mitchell Trubisky's rookie season? He was actually pretty good. And I mean, he sufficed. He was okay. He made it work, and he may have another one. Maybe he's just one of those quarterbacks that has one great year, one really bad year, one great year, and he's just do that his whole career. Who knows? Maybe they won't take Trevor Lawrence. But as for right now, we know that this Falcons offense is legit. This defense is garbage. The Bears kind of have an opposite situation. They have a decent defense and a horrible offense that seems to win somehow for right now. Man, I'm going with the Falcons because that's my team and because they're in Atlanta. But I wouldn't be surprised if we are leading by like 30 points for 3 quarters and then we lose it at the last second.
Well, if Mitch Trubisky comes back on you like Dallas just did, that's a death sentence for a defensive-minded head coach. Whatever he's calling himself in Atlanta, he might have to consider a change of profession. That did not look like a defensive head coach or any defense for that matter. I thought we disagree on this now, but you stuck with your team. I also picked the Falcons. It doesn't look like it from the stats, but of course I know with the analyst's mindset, they're the better team. We know they're the better team. They should have the better record. Why don't they? Because they've choked. They've underperformed. Bears have overperformed. That it might just keep going like that. There's a reasonable chance we're going to be looking at a 3-0 Bears and 0-3 Falcons team, and we're like, how did we get here? I'm going to go with what my logical thinking would say. Pick the Falcons. They're the better team. They're playing at home, and it's high noon. It's about time they started winning games because 0-3 is that's rough waters. So it's about time they start winning. I'll say they do it this weekend. How about the Panthers at the Chargers?
Panthers at the Chargers. Now, this actually, just at first glance, was tough. I was thinking it was tough, but there's actually a few variables that swing the pendulum here. Panthers are missing their star running back. Oh, poor McCaffrey. The Panthers actually are playing, I would say, better than their 0-2 record. I mean, they're not horrible. Like, I expected them to put up 10 points a game all season, but they're not horrible. They're just not winning, you know. I guess they could have put up more than 17 against the Bucs, but the Bucs have a great run defense. So, and being a run-first team, that's kind of what happens. But you lost Christian McCaffrey. The Chargers, are they going to keep the rookie in there? Because he is a lot like Joe Burrow. He looked great in his first outing, and he looked like he could be a legit starter in the NFL. Now, I can't make that determination after one game, but it looks like, he kind of made a new spark in this team, kind of lit a fire under him, which is weird to say because they won their first game with Tyrod Taylor and then lost the second game with him. But, this is at home. I say if they do bring Tyrod back, they're going to lose. But if Herbert starts, they're going to win. So I'm going to go with the Chargers because I do think Herbert's probably going to play this game.
Well, if you've seen my recent video, they better start Herbert. Because if they don't start Herbert, if they start Tyrod Taylor and they lose to the Panthers, I got a new coach for you for the top of that pyramid. Because that would be an completely insane decision for Anthony Lynn. After what you've seen there, to go with Tyrod Taylor, put it in your words, the most boring quarterback in the league, versus the bundle of energy that is Justin Herbert, the way that he energized and almost pushed the team to a win against the division rival Chiefs. You have to start Justin Herbert. The guy's ready. He's clearly ready. He's clearly better. You have to start him, assuming that Anthony Lynn will come to his senses through this week and start the right quarterback. I'm picking the Chargers to win this game. Listen, can you name 3 teams that rely on one player more than the Panthers rely on Christian McCaffrey? Packers with Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
Maybe Russell, the Seahawks.
Chiefs.
Who else?
Chiefs,
maybe. Patrick Mahomes. But the Panthers without McCaffrey, in terms of non-quarterback, that's their entire offense right there. That's their best receiver and their best runner. And that's exactly what Teddy Bridgewater needs around him. And him being out for 4 or 5 weeks is devastating for the season. Being 0-2, not necessarily a great start. I'll give you that. They played better than their record would suggest. And that is a good 0-2 right now, but without McCaffrey, man, that's a tough road ahead. I'm going to take the Chargers. Expecting Justin Herbert to start, this Chargers team is legit. Their defense is ferocious. They have a great pass rush. Still, the Melvin Ingram, Joey Bosa combination is fantastic. Even though no Derwin James, Casey Hayward is a dark horse defensive player of the year candidate at the moment. He is playing out of his mind. This Chargers team is for real. With Keenan Allen healthy, and Austin Eckler as a great receiving back too. That's what you love to see. Hunter Henry healthy. All of a sudden, this team is stacked, and Justin Herbert is the exact catalyst they need. It's a double-digit win team in LA, and I'm looking forward to see them make waves as long as Justin Herbert starts, and he's going to keep developing. This team's going to be good for a long time. I'm having to beat the Panthers, and handily so. How about the Jets here, with kind of the opposite situation going on versus the Colts?
Oh man, the Jets are in a worse situation than the Giants. The Colts,
they might, yeah.
They even though they're 1-1, they look good. They do. I think Phillip Rivers is serviceable. He's a good game manager. I mean, and he shows that he can push the ball downfield when he needs to. But we knew that all along. I mean, he's been a serviceable quarterback for how many years now? I want to say one bright spot of this Colts team is their tight end, Jack Doyle, was out this game. So they used one of the biggest men I've ever seen on a football field in Mo Alley Cox. And he was phenomenal in this game. So I think when Jack Doyle is healthy, you should keep Mo Alley Cox as your tight end. Just a small tip from me there. The Jets are horrible. They're never going to win anything. They may be the 0-16 team this year, and we'll blame it all on Matt Nagy. I hope he gets fired before their bye game. Don't
That's
even
Adam
wait
Gase.
for the bye week.
Not Matt Nagy.
Jesus Christ, man. That's the second time I've
done You want so many coaches to get fired, you get them all mixed up all the time. I get it.
Exactly. Carson Wentz and Jared Goff, and now Matt Nagy and Adam Gase, yeah. And dude, I did that earlier this week. I mixed up Dan Quinn and Bill O'Brien because they're both the same people.
They're twins. That's the same idea, right?
Exactly. But yes, the Jets are probably going 0-16 unless they fire Nagy sometime really soon. Maybe they can get a coach in that can win something. I'm going with the Colts at home easily.
I feel like a broken record at this point talking about the Jets because I feel like this is like the 34th week in a row that I'm saying the exact same thing about the Jets, which is PSA to Sam Darnold: get out of there. Find a new coach, find a new team, go somewhere. Why is Adam Gase still the head coach? I agree with you on that one. I have absolutely no idea. They lost to an entire practice squad of what is a good team, but it was the practice squad. It was backup quarterback, backup running backs. Still, top receiver is hurt. The tight end was out. Listen, here's the thing. Here's the list, right? I'm going to give you this list of players, right? Mm-hmm. Richard Sherman, Jimmy Garoppolo, Raheem Mostert, George Kittle, Nick Bosa, Solomon Thomas, Deebo Samuel. What do all those players have in common?
They are injured and out of the game.
They are, for one, the backbone of that Niners team, and two, were out against the Jets. And it wasn't like the game was close. The Jets got blown out by a second string. And the Jets aren't that injured. Yes, they had some. Le'Veon Bell's out, but that doesn't seem like a huge downgrade. Frank Gore seemed just fine. And Sam Darnold played all right, but I don't know what's going on with this team. I can't explain it. They look horrible every week, and I believe Adam Gase right now is actually going to be the first head coach out. And I feel very good about our bet, by the way, about a head coach being gone by week 9. I'm feeling very confident it will happen, and right now I'm going to say it's going to be Adam Gase after week 6. He'll be out because they're going 0-6. I've seen their schedule, not a winnable game inside. They're going to go 0-6, and Adam Gase will be out, and I'm going to win that bet, hopefully. And I don't think you'll even be too mad about it once it finally happens. As for this one, give me the Colts. I mean, Phillip Rivers fine. The Colts team is really good. And they shouldn't have a problem winning the game. They're at home. Cowboys at Seahawks.
Man, this should be a barn burner. Let's see. Can we say that Dak Prescott is the wannabe Russell Wilson? It seems to me that he has modeled his entire game after Russell Wilson.
Maybe he's not as fast.
Not quite, yeah, of course. But Seahawks are on fire right now, especially after that big win. That was payback from the Super Bowl a while back. And I wasn't too mad about seeing it, even though I hate the Seahawks and the Patriots. I hate the Patriots just a little more. But Russell Wilson right now is up there with Josh Allen for the MVP and whoever else you want to add in there. The Cowboys, let's not pretend that they are a great team because they made that comeback. This Atlanta defense gave that to them. Literally gave that to them. And I don't know what is wrong with special teams, but they did not realize you can't touch the ball before it goes over 10 yards. And they just, man, I'm telling you, people around Atlanta right here, kind of going back to Atlanta, and I'm sorry about this, but people around here are saying that they threw that game. That Jerry Jones somehow got to Arthur Blank, over some Home Depot deal or something, and says, we need to win this game, and they gave it to him. Okay.
It looked like it.
Back to the Cowboys. This is in Seattle, so hopefully Jerry Jones is not there handing out money to win this game. I'm going to take the Seahawks to win this and Russell Wilson to continue to be on fire.
We have 4 games left after this. Still no disagreement. You said you hate the Seahawks equally as much as the Patriots, which is one of the worst takes I've ever heard, that the Patriots are my best friends any day that they play the birds, the pigeons from the rainy city. Absolutely no understanding for that whatsoever. I have to pick the Seahawks anyway, because honestly, the Cowboys, that's a lucky 1-1. That's not a good 1-1. That's a lucky 1-1. They've been playing 0-2 ball. And yeah, they should have lost the game in Atlanta. They were losing the game in Atlanta for 50 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you know what happened. There was just both teams trying their best not to win the game, and someone had to. But I don't see him beating Seattle. Not at Seattle, not at Dallas either, but this is at Seattle. Russell Wilson's playing out of his mind. One of the MVP candidates, like we said. Yeah, Seattle's going to win the game. And probably handily. I have my doubts. I have my doubts about the entire Cowboys operation there. People drafted Dak Prescott really high in fantasy, thought he was going to be all that. And yeah, he puts up the stats, and the names are always there, but the offensive line is kind of falling apart, I want to say, from what they were a couple years ago.
Yes.
Not very high trust in that entire division. The Cowboys, not much more than anyone else. How about the Bucks at Broncos?
Bucks and Broncos. Talk about 2 teams that I don't want to draft players from, except for Chris Godwin, who's coming back. And Mike Evans looks good when Chris Godwin's out, so I'll take that. But other than that, man, I don't know what to do with the Broncos here because, Jesus, he's out, man, he's out. And who do they have behind Jeff Driscoll? Driscoll actually looked a little better than Drew Lock at the end of this game. So I don't know. Maybe it's an improvement, but I had Drew Lock as a breakout candidate. But right now, that looks all out the window. I want to bet against Tom Brady and the Bucks because they're the Bucks and because it's Tom Brady. But the Broncos are not as good. I might have picked them. No, I think I still picked the Chiefs to win that division, but either way, the Broncos are definitely not winning it now, no matter who picked them. Like at this point, it's pretty much over. Just pack up the tent and go home. The Bucks should take this one on the road. I mean, that defense is not good enough to stop those magnificent receivers they have there. The tight ends are great. The receivers are great. The running backs are great. I mean, Jesus, you got Ronald Jones, and you got 2. Ronald Jones was first or second round, but you got 2 superstar or drafted to be superstar running backs. So, scared of that offense, man. I'll take the Bucks on the road.
I gotta take him too. With Von Miller out, it was already tough pickings, and now Drew Lock. It looks like a death sentence. It's tough to see. I had the Broncos to really make waves. I have substituted the Chargers into that exact spot now after seeing Justin Herbert and the team in general just performing better. Too many key players out for Denver. Jeff Driscoll is serviceable. I know that firsthand. He was drafted by the 49ers. Actually, he's a very mobile quarterback, one of the fastest mobile quarterbacks in the league. He'll do fine. That defense is not going to hold up against this running game, and against all expectations, this Tampa Bay team is turning into ground and pound team. All of a sudden, with Fournette and Ronald Jones, they're going to run the ball 35 times, and going to be right like it was in New England for a lot of the times. You have Tom Brady, he's Gronk there every once in a while for a slant route, and he's handing the ball off a lot, throwing screen passes. Mm-hmm. he's going to feel pretty good in that offense. I think the Buccaneers win this too at Denver. Originally, I would have thought before the season this would be a barn burn. It would be a really good one, and I would have maybe picked the Broncos as like an upset thing. But with the players are out, I can't pick the Broncos. Got to go with Tampa Bay. So we have 3 games left, and we still so far have not disagreed on a game, which is tough. I hope for the sake of tension that it will happen, but third to last game, I kind of doubt that it's gonna happen in this one. We have Lions at Cardinals.
Yeah, it's probably not gonna happen in this one. Lions, man, the Lions are the Browns. I mean, the Lions are the Bengals. You know, the Lions are what the Lions are, and they're just not good, and they're just not winning. No matter what hopes I have for them to turn this around, I don't think Patricia can coach up. He's not even coaching up the defense, you know, let alone the offense, you know. I think there's a problem. I think there's a problem with Bill Belichick disciples going to teams and thinking, you know, the owners of those teams thinking that you can just hire one of these disciples and all of a sudden you have the Patriots on your hands. It just doesn't happen. We're going to see how Mike Vrabel turns out down there in Tennessee, but he may be good. The most successful so far.
I think he already is the most successful, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, it doesn't work for Pete Carroll disciples either, I'll tell you that. The Lions are probably going to lose this one. I mean, especially being in Phoenix. The Cards look really great. I think Kyler Murray is going to have an outstanding season. I can't pick him to be MVP, but I think he is a very big possibility that he could be in the running by the end of the season, though. Going to pick the Cards to take this one at home.
Yep, I have to agree with that. Not much to say about the actual matchup, but my God, are the Cardinals stacked all of a sudden. That receiving core is fire. This is what we expected the Browns to be last year, and what we expected the Buccaneers to be this year. You got DeAndre Hopkins, you got Larry Fitzgerald, and who's Dan Arnold all of a sudden, the best tight end in the league over 2 weeks. It's incredible. And then Kenyon Drake can run. Kyler Murray can run. All of a sudden, this offense seems unstoppable. And listen, the NFC West is diabolical this year, and there is a real possibility that all 4 teams from the NFC West could make the playoffs this year. It's not the furthest out there a bold prediction you could make at this point. Cardinals going to win the game. They look really good. And the Lions, like you mentioned, they're the Lions. Not much to say there. We have 2 more shots here, and very high-class games, to be fair, to have a disagreement. So I'll let you go first. The late game on Sunday night, Packers at Saints.
Well, this would have been much, much tougher if I hadn't just watched the Saints get handed their backs by the Raiders. All right, Aaron Rodgers still playing great. By frauds, yeah. And it's funny every time I think about it because it's the Saints that it happened to. So, you know, at least we got beat by, you know, dynasty, or well, how would you say it? You know, like dynasty teams, I guess. You know, America's teams. You know, the popular teams. They got beat by the Raiders. You know, Seahawks are great. You know, Cowboys are always in contention, no matter who hates them or whatever. But the Raiders, they got beat by the Raiders, and I'm gonna laugh about that, even though I'm crying about the Falcons. But anyway, Aaron Rodgers is playing great. He's still playing great. It wasn't quite as good as that first game because Devontae Adams went out in this one. And for my fantasy teams, I have a lot of Devontae Adams this year, so I'm hoping he comes back. I actually made a trade for him today, as a matter of fact, in one league because I knew that the person who had them would freak out and, you know, I gave up. Who did I give up? Oh, well, doesn't matter. Packers are going to roll in New Orleans at that. Now, I'm kind of afraid the Saints actually, you know, being pissed off and turning around, but this is Aaron Rodgers. They look great. I got to go with the Packers.
So the 2 things real quick. For one, just for the record, I'm going to call them the New Orleans Sinners from now on because losing to the Raiders is unforgivable. And other than that, man, Aaron Rodgers beats entire teams by himself. It doesn't really matter. And secondly, this is going to be panic button time in New Orleans if they lose this game. They haven't been 1-2 in a long time. If Drew Brees plays another game like this, they're going to be 1-2. And all of a sudden, who wins the South? No one knows. Someone might go 9-7 and win the South, which was completely unexpected before the year. We thought this was going to be one of the strongest divisions. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I'm thinking Aaron Rodgers is going to come down. He's going to sweep this team up. Because they've shown a lot of weakness. They have to get back relying on the run game. They have to get Emmanuel Sanders the ball, and I know Michael Thomas is out, but listen, you can only get so far with slant routes, so you have to open up the playbook. Drew Brees has got to get it together, because all of a sudden that guy in Carolina is playing decently well, and you might have made the wrong choice in the long run. Who knows if we'll see Jameis start this year? I wouldn't mind seeing Jameis start this year at some point. At least he does throw it deep. So we'll see what happens. Can't bet against Aaron Rodgers. That's my old philosophy. And I'm not going to do it. He's the baddest man in the league. And he's going to win the game. And the Packers are going 3-0 against all odds somehow. We have one more and we still haven't disagreed. Please do me the favor and pick the wrong team in this final game. If there is a wrong team. Chiefs at Ravens Monday night. The big one that everyone's been waiting for.
Yeah. Man, this is the AFC Championship game right here, huh?
It might be. New England is still in there. I think New England has something to say about that. Maybe Chargers, dark horse, but yeah, it could be.
I'm wondering if this is going to be like the Chiefs Rams matchup of a couple years ago. And if this is going to be like a 54-51 barn burner, where do I start? I mean, both of them have phenomenal quarterbacks. Both quarterbacks are playing good. Although the Chiefs showed a little weakness for 3/4 of that game against the Chargers, man. It didn't look good for them for a while. I thought the Chargers were going to win that game. But the Chiefs are what the Chiefs are, and I'm sure if they took the Chargers a little too lightly, they'll probably recover from that and, make amends and fix whatever was wrong at that point. The Ravens and Lamar Jackson, that defense is scary. That defense eats up running quarterbacks. Jesus Christ, that defense is scary. We're in Baltimore. So, the Chiefs are really great, but I'm picking the Ravens to win here, and I bet you pick the Chiefs.
You bet I'm going to pick the Chiefs?
Yes.
Man, I really don't want to taint this show. I'm going to be honest to God, I was going to pick Baltimore. I was going to pick Baltimore to win the game. And for similar reasons. Yeah. I said this in a video last week when I talked about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. The way that the Chiefs lose a game is by playing spotty defense. And that defense got a little bit last week by Justin Herbert, and they inched it out with some kicker heroics. They might as well have lost that game. It was close. And Baltimore is less forgiving than even a Chargers team because the offense is dynamic, and Mark Ingram, J.K. Dobbins now, and Lamar Jackson, they might run all over this Chiefs team. Offensively, yeah, it could be a shootout. Patrick Mahomes can hang 50 on anyone if he has to, if he's forced to. It comes down to it. I think the Ravens will just be the team that makes the one stop. And the Chiefs are not going to make that one stop. And that's why Baltimore wins. It's incredibly tough to pick. And I know I should pick Kansas City. For once, so we actually have a disagreement. It hasn't happened much that we agree on every single game, by the way. I didn't expect it to happen this week, but we do. Yeah. I'm not going to go Kansas City. I might come back next week and regret it because they're going to win because Patrick Mahomes is the best. But I had to pick the Ravens. Like if the Chiefs' offense might be slightly better, but the Ravens' defense is a lot better. So all in all, the Baltimore is probably the most complete team in the league right now, and I'm going to be picking them. So we agree on everything.
Well, just think, if we go 16-0 this week, it's really good for the show.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if that were the case. I think if that's the case, we can call some national media outlets and get some pretty well paying jobs probably. Really quickly before we get out of here, I have some betting advice. Last week, like I mentioned, made $5 in the negative because of the Saints decided to choke in what was it? gimme win, but they decided not to take it because they wanted to make me a loss. And I'm going to take advantage of that and take advantage of the Saints doing me dirty. I got the Packers to win straight up. The Saints, for some reason, this data is from my bookie. The Saints are favored by, I believe, 2.5 points in this game. I'm not having any of that. I'm not having any of spread. Packers to straight up go to New Orleans and win the game. At 2.5 odds. Got $5 on that one. Feeling good about that one. Next one, I have the Tennessee Titans at -2.5. Seems quite low to me, considering we have a Vikings team coming to town there. It's 0-2. That's just underperforming and not really getting the offense running at all. I think Titans are going to dominate the game, start to finish, and 2.5 that's an easy spread to cover. That's just a field goal. I think it's going to be a less close than that. It's going to be might be on the verge of a blowout already. And finally, I have the over on the Jacksonville Jaguars-Dolphins game. I hinted at it at the start when we talked about it. This is the shootout kind of game. The one where Ryan Fitzpatrick just throws a bunch of touchdowns. Gardner Minshew, we know he's good. And the defense is kind of like, come fourth quarter, the defenses just don't come out in the field anymore. They stay on the sideline. Everyone scores touchdowns. Everyone gets a touchdown. The over-under is at 47.5. I have a pretty good feeling that this is going to be broken. I think I would have probably taken the over at 50 and got $5 on all three of those. As every week, and this time I'm not joking, this time I'm for real. These are 100% guaranteed. Put them in the bank. You're going to make easy money if you make those bets. And I'll come in next week having made absolutely no money and tell you that that's going to be the week, but this week is going to be the week for real. So that's all I have to say about that. Smokey, do you have a quick preview maybe for the hurry-up offense or anything specific that you wanted to say?
Yeah, I just want to say stay the course. Stay the course. That's going to be the theme for this week.
Okay, that's going to be the theme. I'm looking forward to that one. So I'm looking forward to that one. To anyone who doesn't know, the Hurry Up Offense is Smokey's 5-minute fantasy, weekly fantasy segment on this channel on Beyond Football, which is coming up tomorrow or on Thursday maybe, but you should subscribe to the channel for sure to not miss it out. Anyone who plays fantasy football, invaluable information, short, concise, but really, really important. The man knows what he's talking about at fantasy football, real football. Today, I'll give you this. Today, you made a lot of good picks. I agree with everything, so it couldn't have been that bad. But fantasy football-wise, I'll definitely give you that expertise. So everyone who's into fantasy football needs to watch the Hurry Up Offense coming up later this week. But as for week 3, do you have anything to add, or are we done here?
That's it for this week.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, thank you for watching. This has been The Scoreboard, and we're going to see you in the next one.
Deuces.